said, I can sure depend on your homeroom because I had to step out and it was so quiet. Awesome. Thank y'all. It made my heart happy. Alrighty. I love you when you're good and I love you when you're not so good. But it really makes me proud when you choose the right thing. Just got it and we feel comfortable with it. I'm compassionate. Okay. What is compassionate mean? You said that perfect. What does it mean? Like, care for other people. That's a good one. Glenn, what do you think? Um, holding my door open. That's a good example of being compassionate. It's holding a door for somebody, especially if someone's in need. If I'm struggling and you see me and you're like, hey, Miss Roberts, look, let me help you. You're being compassionate. Yes. And if someone drops a paper or something, you can pick it up. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Um, and no, not now. Good, not now. Yes, but not right now. Because right now, remember we want who is it that will come against us when we start reading the Bible? Satan. So somebody's going to have an issue with their computer. Somebody's going to drop something. We're going to have an interruption. There'll be something to happen. So we just really want to trust exactly when we're reading our Bible verse. So be kind, compassionate to your friends, right? So I don't have to be kind and compassionate to Billy Bob who pushed me down the other day or who made fun of my sister. Do I have to be kind and compassionate to him? Ella, I do. It's easy to be nice to y'all. It is. Because I find a group of kids that's mean and maybe they don't show me compassion and maybe they make fun of me or maybe they laugh because my shoelaces are high and I tripped and I fell or I said something wrong and they made fun of me. It's hard to be compassionate to somebody like that. That's what you're called to do. When that person is rude to you, when you're boys, you're playing football and you're playing against a team and there's a boy on that team that says ugly words on purpose, like you tackle and they say ugly words. Hard to be compassionate to that person? Yeah, it is. But should you be compassionate, Grant? Should you be compassionate to that person? Absolutely. It's easy to be nice to nice people. Hard to be nice to not nice, but that's what you're called to do. Be kind, be compassionate. Forgive each other. Remember the Bible verse? Love covers a multitude of sin. It is. Forgive them and move on. Forgive them and move on. Show compassion. Get over it. Don't wallow in it. Well, he got me that way. He got. Grow up and move on. Cover it up with some love. I love you. I forgive you. I showed mercy. Now, someone who's truly seeking you out and constantly hurting or making fun, that's when you need to include a teacher. So there's a difference there. And it gives me the reason I do this is because Christ forgave me. Now there's this cool little thing about forgiveness. If I don't forgive Ellen, then maybe God might not forgive me. God's forgiven me, and I want to be. Who do I want to be tamed by? God. I want to copycat God. He's forgiven me. I want to forgive you. I'm not tamed by the world. I'm being tamed by God. And I'm going to copy me, and I won't forgive others. So be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other. Forgive each other. I love you. I forgive you. Don't remember it. Don't think back. This is love and kindness and forgiveness. All right, take about 2 minutes. Write something. You know, there's 2 things you have to write. Day and the verse. And then a picture, a thought, a word, a sentence, something that shows that you have a moment to think about what God is saying here. Right? Medically speaking, people are healthier when they forgive somebody and they're happy. When you are angry and frustrated and upset, your health shows. You get wrinkles faster, you have tummy aches, you don't sleep as well, and your health is not as good. God gives you joy and happiness and comes along with good health. But some people, God has different plans for them. Once you're finished, remember we're not going to get back in the binder until class is over. Once we get done, we're going to move straight into our science. So as you're starting to finish, get that science book, science notebook. Good job, sweetie. We're going to be on page 9. Writing page in our notebook. Yes, you need to go ahead and move on in. All right, so getting into our science. Yesterday, we did pages 6 through 8. We wrote notes. We put a dot between the notes so they don't get jumbled up. When you write a sentence, you know the beginning and the ending because of punctuation and capitalization. But when we write notes, we may not know beginning and end, so we put the little colored dot in the middle so we know where a note begins and a note ends. We also made sentences using our notes. And remember, I told you at the beginning of the year, I'm pretty much going to make those sentences for you. Then, as we get better and better, I'm going to make sentences with you. And then, as you get to be professionals, you're going to make sentences all by yourself. And at the end of last year, those kids making those wonderful sentences all on their own. And their sentences were unique and different. And it was lovely to hear them because it wasn't just my thoughts. I was getting to hear their thoughts too. So that's your goal, is to be able to do this on our own. Now, page 9. So start out. There's your polar bear. And on page 9, Brant, I'm going to let you go ahead and read that first paragraph. Now, you need to have your notebook ready. I love the way my girls are ready. We're going to be on a fresh page. Remember, L left will be your notes. Right will be our sentences. Now, men, let's get ready. Girls, thank you. Pretty much being ready. Remember your 1 so that you have all of these materials ready when we start. Okay? All right, Brant, read loud and clear that first paragraph. Start with some. Some structures are internal. Internal structures are the inside of an organism. Your brain is a little internal head. Whoa! You skipped a line, Brent. Go back to your brain. Your brain is an internal structure. Good. External. External structures on the outside of the organism. Your skin is a external structure. It is it's outside of your body. So think it right now. As a teacher would think. Did you see two words that pop? Okay. What, Fisher? That's right. You're right. You're right. Internal is on the inside. Internal are the things you can't see. Your guts, your arteries, your blood vessels. Those are internal. And then there's some structures that are external. So remember, internal is inside. External is like your exit going outside when you exit. So that'll kind of help us to remember internal, inside. External is on the outside. Peyton, did you need me? What? But you can see your blood vessels on your wrist. That's right. You can. There are sometimes that you can see a hint of an external. Yeah, because sometimes you can see, a hint of an internal. But I really can't see my bone unless it's broken and sticking out. All right, so on your left side at the top of your page, we're going to put page 9 and then study dot. And then our first one is going to be internal. Internal structures inside an organism. Now, organism was one of our words. What does organism mean? What? What's an organism? What's an organism? Something that's alive. It's like if Frankenstein, the guy that makes Frankenstein, would say, "It's alive." An organism is something that's alive. Internal structures are on the inside. External. And so external structures are on the outside. Pretty easy to remember. Internal, external. All right, Brant, would you pick a girly, girly, squirrely to read the next paragraph, please? Come on, pick a girl. Hurry, hurry. Allie Grace. Shh, 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 shh. Allie Grace, go ahead. Is to work together for a purpose or design each structure of the organism. Functions as God created it to. Structure helps the living thing to survive and grow, thrive, and resource as God planned. All right. So you've already learned something. What are you looking for? What do you see? Functions. There you go. Function equals so function is to work together for a purpose. So a group can function. We function as a classroom. We're working together. Our purpose is to learn, is to grow, is to encourage each other. Now, sometimes structures, internal structures work together. My heart and my lungs are working together to pump blood, to clean my blood, to get air through my blood. All my internal organs are working together, functioning to keep me alive because I want to stay an organism. I don't want to be dead. I want to keep myself alive. So all my internal organs are functioning for the purpose of keeping me alive. And you're going to have to go. All right. Allie Grace, pick a boy. Okay, so the structures of a plant that are working together, the leaves, stems, and roots. Now, I've got some of my flowers or leaves from yesterday, and y'all, these are plants. They're colorful. They're not flowers. This is part of the plant. This one actually flowered. Isn't that a weird looking flower? That's a weird looking flower to me. But these are just leaves. They're just colorful leaves. So this one has stem, leaf, and hopefully it's going to grow a root and also a flower. Yeah. This one has a stem and leaves, and hopefully will grow a root here, but no flowers. So most of the plants, the internal structures, we don't see those yet. External structures would be the stems, the roots, sometimes flowers, sometimes fruit. And the fruit on this one is actually the jalapeno. They're still growing. I need to open that blind and let him get a little sunlight for today. Good job, Gray. Gray, let's all turn the page, and Gray, pick a girl. Gray, pick a girl. Blend, get these in. Ainsley. Now, Ainsley, you've got a big page there. So when you turn, do you see the plant on your page? All right, guys, look at the flower. Ainsley, read about the flower. Okay, so a flower is going to make a seed. And I've got some seeds over there that came out of a flower. Okay. Ainsley, would you read the part that says fruit? Okay. All right. So that what kind of fruit is that? What did it fruit? It made a tomato. And inside the tomato, you're going to see seeds. Inside that jalapeno over there, you're going to open it up and you'll see seeds inside there. Yeah. All right, Ainsley, would you read the part about leaves? Photosynthesis. Beautiful. Okay, let's go to STEM. Would you read STEM? Uh huh. So if your stem is very, very weak, the plant will lay over like that. It'll droop. And sometimes a tomato plant, the stem is a little weak. And maybe if your mom or dad or grandpa's grow tomato plants, they put a little cage around it or they put a stick and they tie it to help that stem because especially when the fruit, the tomato starts to produce, it gets a little heavy, kind of brings it over. So sometimes you have to stake it to hold that stem up. All right, Ainsley, the roots underground. Read about the roots. Beautiful. Now we got to write a little bit about each one, but we're not going to write much. So put a study note, and we're going to put flower. The flower makes seeds, and fruit. Let's say holds instead of contains. Holds seeds. And we're going to talk about these more in detail later. We're going to do a little bit more studying on that. So this is kind of like an introduction. Pretty much we know this part. We've kind of learned this through the years. Leaves. Now this one might be a little different. Have y'all ever heard of photosynthesis? Oh, good. Leaves are the photosynthesis, and that's like little factories inside the leaves, little cells inside the leaves that's taking the sunlight, it's grabbing sunlight and using it to make energy. Now, some plants need more sunlight and some plants need less sunlight. So each one's unique. Okay, stem. Up. What did I forget? Study not. The stem holds the plant up. Pretty cool on that. And the roots. I got the roots in the ground. All right, our roots, and we're just going to say right now, anchor. You know what it means to anchor? Okay, hold on. You know what it means to anchor? Like a boat. Think about a boat. When you use an anchor, what happens? Hold it in one place. So the roots help to anchor the plant. So if you got a plant and a big, huge rain comes and it washes, what could happen to that plant if the roots aren't real deep?
It falls over.
Falls over, it kind of washes it away. Okay. Yeah, and it like moves down with the water and washes it away. But if you've got good roots in the ground, then it'll hold it. And also roots of grass help keep the soil in place. There's a patch in our yard right now that we've been working on. We had to scrape some of the grass off. And so we put some more grass back on to keep the water from washing the dirt away. Because dirt will move quickly. You know, you can spray your carport off with a water hose and it moves the dirt. But if you put grass down in your yard, those roots help keep the soil in place from the mud just washing away. All right. Ainsley, that was good reading. You had a lot of reading. Now, our next one that I'm going to read, this is about a botanist. Has anybody ever heard of a botanist?
Yeah.
What? Max? Grow plants, manage plants, and study about plants. That is great. A botanist. Now, studying plants, why would you study plants? Well, they produce food. Do you like to eat?
Very.
Yes. Do you want a corn plant to produce a lot? Especially if you're a farmer. You want your plants to produce a lot because you sell it. And if you sell stuff, what do you get? Money. So the more you understand about your plant, your crop, the more you're likely to have food, the more likely you are to sell it. Also, animals. We grow plants for animals to eat. So if I grow something for a cow to eat, and I want my cow to be good and fat because you know what?
Kill them.
I'm going to kill it. Sorry. I'm going to eat it. Do you like hamburgers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You like steak?
You kill a chicken and
So you have that animal that's going to eat that crop that you're growing. So you need a botanist, someone who studies plants to tell you, hey, you want that plant? You can either make more money or have more food or just like have more healthy plants. So a botanist, Max, good job. I'm glad you knew that. This is a big fancy word now. Y'all ready for the big fancy word? A botanist. 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 That's a fancy pants word. Studies plants. Somebody might grow up to be a botanist. That would be pretty cool. They study the life cycle of a plant. They also help to study the things that might hurt a plant. So if your tomato plant is just continuing to get worms on it, a tomato worm, continuing, maybe you could figure out, a botanist could figure out how to reproduce that plant that it tastes yucky for a worm. And so you won't get so many worms on it. So your plant's healthier. Your plant's healthier, you get more tomatoes. And if you want them to eat or to sell, it's just good. So botanists help us out in lots of ways. All right, Miss Ansley, would you get a boy for us to read the first paragraph on page 12? Pick a boy, please. Peyton, good job. Start underneath. It says roots and stems, functions of roots. No, no, turn the page. Okay, underneath the blue. There you go.
Roots are the external structures that anchor the plant, and they come in many shapes and sizes, as shadow, while others are deep in the ground. Some roots, some roots,
You got a frog in your throat.
some roots grow in clumps, but all roots provide the same function. Without them, the plant would fall over or blow away in the wind. Roots are very important structures.
Okay, so we got some pictures of some roots. Do you see that tree on the top of where Peyton was reading? Some of those roots are exposed, they're above the ground. And that happens sometimes in rocky areas when the root maybe come above. There's a place, I had an aunt one time that the root grew up under her driveway and it actually busted the driveway. And the root kind of came up in through her driveway. And so they had to break out the driveway, cut the root, and redo the driveway. But roots are in there to hold the plant in place. It anchors that plant and it keeps the soil from washing. And then, like Peyton just said, some roots grow in clumps. Oh, mercy. Let me tell you what. If you got a weed in your garden, there's a weed. Does anybody ever watch Rumor Weed, the Veggie Tales?
Yeah, I watched that one.
I love rumor weed. It's a rumor weed. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, if you have a weed in your garden that has a clump for the roots, it's hard to pull it up because you got to pull it up, and it's just a clump of roots. It's hard. And then sometimes you may get a root weed that just has one little root, easy to pull up. Now, a pine tree has what's called a tap root, and it is a long, and it taps down into the water source. That's how I always remembered it. A tap root, it's long and skinny. Did you know that you eat roots? Does anybody eat carrots? Does anybody eat potatoes? Anybody eat French fries? You are eating a root. Isn't that cool? Where do you find the potato?
In the ground.
In the ground. Yeah, it grows as part of the root. It's a tuber, so that's pretty cool. So some roots, like Peyton just said, are thin and some are in clumps, but they all anchor the plant and they're all going to give nutrients through the soil and they're all going to keep the soil from eroding. Peyton, would you get a girl? And it's short right down there at the bottom. Ella, it's just a little short one. Start with roots. Wait. Start with roots. Go back up. You're in the green. Go back up. Perfect. Function.
Small hairs absorb or take in water and nutrients from the soil. Roots take the water and nutrients.
Good. Did y'all hear her say function? Do you remember that we wrote about function, work together for a purpose? So roots have a function. So roots work together for another purpose other than holding it in place. They're also helping to absorb moisture from the soil. Good job. Ella used our word function to work together for a purpose. And roots are working together for a purpose to bring that moisture up to that plant. Good job. I'll read that little green. Cactus plants mostly grow in hot desert areas. They have many long, shallow roots. These roots help the plant to quickly absorb water from a large area. Now, in the desert, there's not a water reserve under the ground. Where we live, you can dig a hole and you dig deep enough, you're going to get water pretty quick. Now, in the desert, you can dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. So, when it does rain, rain falls down, and all these roots are just very shallow underground, and it soaks up all the moisture that it can get. When the ground is dry, the smaller roots break up, dry up, and break off. When there is water, the cactus quickly grows more shallow roots to take in the moisture. I have a cactus at home, and it's not feeling well. I think I watered it too much. All right, Miss Ella, hold on. Pick a boy for us to read, please.
Right down from the stem of the plant. The cactus often after and smaller roots, growing from their size. Some cactus go through to the courses and stabilize our nuclear current that have cactus.
You got it. Did you hear taproots? Did you notice? Did you see? Well, how was taproots written? Bolded. Okay, so let's add tap roots like a pine tree. It's like a pine tree. Tap roots. They are long. Hey, instead of writing and, let's put a plus. Because when you add 5 and 5, so instead of having to write out and, just put the plus. And that's just shorter for us. They're long and thick. Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, they do.
I saw whenever I went to the city.
All right, and who was the one that read that? Ella picked Fisher. Fisher, would you pick a girl for that next part? Miss Claire Claire?
And I was kind of right with the
Fibrous. It sounds funny. Say fibrous. Erosion. All right, so look at that picture, taproot and fibrous root. Which do you think is easier to pull up? Tap, but the taproot. The taproot would be easier because you're only pulling one. Now that fibrous, it grows in there and it gets down in the dirt and it spreads out and it kind of holds on to the dirt, which is really, really good to prevent erosion. If you have taproots, all that dirt around them can wash away. But if you have that fibrous roots, Brent, get on the page with us, then they're going to hold that dirt in place. Do you see what I'm going to put? Anybody reading my brain? Yeah, you got it. Fibrous. I like that word. Fibrous. Fibrous roots. It did correct me. It was supposed to because I typed it wrong. Fibrous roots. Thin, but lots. And they spread out in all directions. Ma'am? Yeah, they're hard. Some of them. Yesterday I walked out and there was a little oak tree. I pulled up an oak tree. It is easy. And it was easy to pull it up because it was just about that tall and I just pulled it up and had an acorn still attached to it. Now, if it got about that tall, I couldn't pull it out. That root would have, it's a tap root and it's got the little ones that come off, so it would have been harder to pull up. Why do you want to grow one? Oh, because it was in my flower bed. Location. Oak trees are good, but not in my flower bed. We need to make one quick correction before we write our sentences. We need to go up to where we wrote our page, go page at 9 dash, and we got to read all the way today to 13. Ooh, is that a dash? Yeah, 9 dash 13. So make sure you add that. Now that means that the information you just wrote came off of pages 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So if you need to go back and look in your book, you know where to look. So left hand, right. So stop, Blanton, listen. We're going to stop writing on the left now, and we're going to make our sentences over here on the right. Okay, just like we did yesterday. So sentence time. All right. So I think that we could put, instead of making a sentence about internal and a sentence about external, we could put those together and use a conjunction. Maybe but. Could I say internal structures are on the outside, but external are, wait, I said they're wrong. Internal structures are on the inside, but external structures are on the outside. That way we could get two in one note. All right, so let's do that. So here we go. Got to send it. Oh, I don't want to do that. There we go. Brand new side. You ready? Gracious. Hold on. Something just went weird. How many study notes we can put together? We want to kind of, I don't want one sentence for every study note. That gets boring. But sometimes a study note has to be by itself because it doesn't really fit. Like I can't really fit it with another thought. So internal structures are on the inside, but external structures are on the outside of an organism. Okay, now our next thought, we took care of those first two. Hmm. The functions means to work together for a purpose. So what if we say the parts of a plant work together or function? So we can do that. So let's say that for the next one. The parts of, oh, instead of parts, we've learned a word for the parts. The structures, let's say structures of plants work together or function. So that way we kind of defined the word in our sentence without saying function means. So the structures of plants, the leaves, the roots, the stems, all of those beautiful little structures function to help the plant live. So we have used just no study dots because we're capitalizing and we're punctuating. So that's how we'll know. Capitalize and punctuate.
Yeah.
The structures of plants work together or function to help the plant live. So we use the word structure. What does structure mean?
Like
Parts. Function. What does function mean?
how it works.
Work together. Man, you guys are brilliant. All right, let's see if we can add another one. We'll come back. All right. Um, Let's hold off on botanist. So we'll put tap roots and fibrous roots together. Okay? No, ma'am, not right now. Two types of roots are tap root and fibrous. I like to say that word, fibrous. I think I would like to name a cat Fibrous. Come here, Fibrous. Or a puppy dog. Anybody going to name their puppy dog? Hey, Fibrous, come here. Come here, Fibrous. I think Fibrous would be a cool name. And this is all the end of our study notes for today, or our study sentences. Excuse me, these are our sentences. So once you get these sentences, study notes, dots, study sentences, you have capital letters, you have punctuation, you know that they are sentences. Now, if there's ever a time that you are unsure of your study note, your study sentences, you got confused, you got lost, you're absent, you're not real sure, you can go to your Google Classroom. And this morning, I dropped those sentences inside your classroom. So you can look at those and go over those if you get behind or you get confused. Now, this is going to be the end of our science for right now. And we're going to hop skippity doo quickly into English. And I do need to see your English homework on your table for me, please. If you don't have that, you've already been looking, please tell me what you need. Tell me what you need. All right, if you don't have that homework on your table, grab it, put it on your table. If you did not do your homework, grab your conduct sheet. I'm going to put a little -1 on there for you, okay? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Hallelujah. Woo-hoo. Yes. Oh my goodness. Look at you guys. You have it? I'm sorry that it is. Beautiful. Anybody else have? I'll put your -1.